Fire's crackling beside me. Cabin's quiet. Coffee's hot enough to burn if you rush it. That kind of quiet used to mean safety to me, brothers. Not anymore. I learned this after leaving the teams. You walk away from the battlefield, but the fight doesn't always walk away from you. Sometimes silence is louder than gunfire. Sometimes it's the calm that hides the knife. Because here's the truth. Even in your so-called safe zone, monsters still knock. Not with rifles, with smiles, with power, with the belief that no one will stop them. So let me ask you this, brother. When someone weaker gets pushed into a corner right in front of you, do you walk away or do you hold the line? One winter night, Christmas Eve, I was sitting in a diner. Red and black flannel, old damage in my left leg, my service dog at my side. And I watched a man humiliate an elderly couple, confident no one would challenge him. He was wrong. Sit down with me. Listen close. This isn't about heroics. It's about survival. It's about being a guardian when there's snow at the edge of Pine Street. Snow fell thick over Spokane on Christmas Eve, wind pushing it sideways along Pine Street, turning sidewalks into white glass and breath into short, visible clouds. Jack Mercer paused outside the diner, letting Atlas settle at his left side before the door opened. The bell rang once. Warm air rushed out, smelling of coffee, grease, and sugar that tried too hard to be festive. Jack was 40, tall and broad-shouldered, wearing a red and black flannel that had seen better winters. His beard was trimmed but streaked with gray at the temples. When he stepped inside, his left leg dragged just enough to notice. Not weakness, damage. Atlas, a 5-year-old German shepherd with black and tan markings, moved with him in perfect timing. The black harness on the dog's chest read, "Service Dog, Do Not Pet," in white block letters. Most people read it. A few tested it. Jack always watched which ones did. He chose the corner booth near the back, where the heat actually worked and the noise softened. Atlas lay down facing the room, ears relaxed but alert. Jack slid into the booth slowly, jaw tight as his knee bent. Pain flared, then faded into the background where he kept it. He did not come for comfort. He came because routine kept his hands steady. Coffee. Silence. A place to watch without being watched. The diner was full, but uneven. A group of construction workers laughed too loud near the window. A single woman at the counter stirred cream into coffee she was not drinking. Christmas lights blinked above the grill, half burned out. Someone had tried. Emily Carter moved between tables with practiced speed. She was 22, slim, brown hair pulled back in a low ponytail that had slipped loose near one ear. Her face looked tired in a way sleep did not fix, but her eyes stayed kind. Kindness with limits. Jack recognized that look. She wore a pale blue diner uniform and scuffed black shoes. Her hands shook once when she picked up a tray, then steadied. She noticed everything. Todd Pritchard did not. Or rather, he noticed different things. Todd stood near the register, 35, average height, posture stiff with authority he liked to feel. His Christmas sweater was red and tight across the chest, stretched as if to prove something. His hair was slicked back, careful, and his eyes moved from shoes to coats to hands when customers entered. He smiled only when money did. Emily approached Jack's table. Her smile was small but real. "What can I get you?" she asked. "Coffee," Jack said. "Black." She nodded, then glanced at Atlas. Her eyes flicked to the harness and away again. Respectful. Jack felt his shoulders lower a fraction. She returned quickly. Coffee down. No chatter. She moved on. That mattered more than friendliness. Jack wrapped his hands around the mug and watched the room through the steam. Atlas shifted once, then went still. The bell rang again. Cold rolled across the floor like a warning. Jack felt Atlas tense before he looked. An elderly couple stood just inside the door. The man was tall once, now slightly bent at the shoulders, his gray hair thin and neat. His coat was clean, but too light for the weather. The woman beside him was smaller, wrapped in a faded scarf, one hand looped through his arm as if it belonged there. It probably always had. Their faces were calm in the way people get when they expect very little. Todd noticed immediately. "We're full," he said, voice loud enough to carry. He did not look at the seating chart. He did not look at the empty booths near the window. The man opened his mouth, then closed it. He nodded once. The woman's hand tightened on his sleeve, thumb rubbing a small circle. Habit. Comfort. Jack felt something pull tight in his chest. Emily froze near the counter. She looked at Todd, then at the couple. Her jaw set. Fear and resolve crossed her face in quick succession. "There's a booth," she said softly, gesturing toward the back. Todd stepped into her space. His smile was thin. "We're not running a shelter," he said. "Christmas rush. You understand." Jack watched Emily swallow. He watched her straighten her shoulders anyway. "I'll take them," she said. Todd laughed once, sharp. He raised his phone slightly, not enough to film yet. Jack noticed Atlas's ears lift. Not aggressive, focused. Emily guided the couple toward the back. The woman looked at her like someone being handed something fragile. Jack stood. The room quieted in pieces. Todd turned, irritated. "Problem?" Todd asked. Jack's voice was even. "You don't touch her, and you don't record your customers." Todd scoffed, eyes flicking to Atlas. "Cute trick." Atlas did not move. He did not growl. He simply stared. Jack held Todd's gaze. He felt the familiar calm settle in, the one that came before decisions mattered. Outside, snow kept falling. Inside, something had already shifted. When warmth costs something. Snow pressed harder against the diner windows, wind rattling the glass as if testing for weakness. The kind of cold that made every warm place feel temporary. Emily led the elderly couple toward the back booth, her steps careful, as if moving too fast might break the moment. Jack watched her from a few paces away, red and black flannel catching the light as he shifted his weight. Atlas stayed close to his left leg, harness clear and still, eyes tracking Todd without blinking. The couple moved slowly. The man's knees cracked when he slid into the booth. He masked it with a polite smile that had been practiced for years. The woman thanked Emily twice, voice soft, hands folded tight in her lap. Gratitude came easy to people who rarely received kindness. Emily handed them menus they did not open. "I'll bring soup," she said. Not a question. Todd leaned against the counter, arms crossed. He looked pleased, in the way people do when they believe control has been restored. He tapped his phone against his palm, not filming yet, just letting the threat breathe. Jack felt the old calculation begin. Distance, exits, temperatures. He noticed how Todd kept glancing toward the register drawer. He noticed how Atlas's posture changed when Todd moved closer to the back hallway. Small things. They always were. Emily returned with soup, steam curling upward. The smell filled the booth, and something in the woman's shoulders loosened. The man ate fast at first, spoon clinking softly, then slowed when he realized no one was counting his bites. "We can pay," he said, voice steady but careful. Emily nodded. "Take your time." She turned away, but Jack saw her hesitate. He followed her gaze to Todd. Todd stepped in front of her near the coffee station. His voice dropped, sharp and private. "You cover that table," he said. "I'm not." Emily's mouth tightened. She glanced at the couple again. Then she nodded once. Compliance without agreement. Jack saw her hands tremble when she reached into her apron pocket, fingers brushing against something thin and folded. Money, maybe. Or a note. Or nothing at all. The weight of it showed on her face. Jack stood again. Todd noticed. His smile returned, thin and bright. "You got something else to say?" he asked. Jack's voice stayed calm. "You shouldn't do this." Todd laughed, a sound that needed an audience. "Do what? Run my place?" Atlas rose to a stand, silent, not aggressive, just present. A few customers watched now, not enough to help, enough to remember. Emily went to her locker near the back hallway. The metal door squeaked. She closed her eyes before opening it, like someone stepping into cold water. Inside was a small envelope, worn, soft from being handled too often. She counted quickly. Once, then again. Her shoulders sagged. Jack felt a pull in his chest he did not like. He thought of things he had spent, things he had chosen. He remembered nights when doing nothing felt safer than doing right. He did not let himself look away. At the register, Emily slid the bills across. The drawer closed with a dull sound that carried farther than it should have. Todd's eyes flicked down. He said nothing. Silence was his weapon now. Emily returned to the booth. "You're all set," she said, voice light, practiced. The woman's eyes filled. She reached across the table, stopping herself just short of touching Emily's hand. "You didn't have to." Emily smiled. "It's Christmas." The couple stood, slower than before. The man nodded to Jack as they passed. Not thanks. Recognition. The door opened. Cold rushed in. Then they were gone. The diner noise rushed back, louder than before. Plates clinked. Someone laughed too hard. Todd turned away as if bored. Emily wiped the counter twice in the same spot. Jack noticed her breathing was shallow. He noticed the way she avoided looking at her phone when it buzzed in her pocket. Todd moved toward the back hallway. Jack watched him go. Atlas's head followed, ears forward. Jack did not stop him. Not yet. He returned to his booth, sitting carefully, left leg stiff. Atlas lay down again, eyes never leaving the hallway. Emily passed by with a pot of coffee. Jack met her gaze briefly. He nodded once. She did not smile, but her shoulders straightened. Outside, snow kept falling, thick and patient. Inside, something had been taken that would not be forgotten. Jack wrapped his hands around his mug. The coffee had gone cold. He drank it anyway. The cost of looking away. The snow eased for a moment, falling straight down instead of sideways, thick flakes pressing against the diner windows like they were listening. Jack Mercer did not sit back down after the couple left. He stayed standing near his booth, red and black flannel hanging loose over his broad shoulders, one hand resting lightly on the table for balance. His left leg throbbed, a dull reminder he had learned to live with. Atlas remained at his side, 5 years old, black and tan coat still, harness clear. Service dog, do not pet. The words mattered tonight. Emily moved through the diner on instinct alone. Refill, clear plate, wipe counter. Her smile stayed in place, but it no longer reached her eyes. Each step felt heavier than the last. The envelope that had lived in her locker for months was gone now, and the empty space it left felt louder than noise. Todd Pritchard watched her from the register. He did not say anything. That was new. Silence was how he reminded people who still held power. Jack followed Todd's movements with quiet focus. The way Todd lingered near the cash drawer. The way he disappeared into the back hallway too often for inventory. The way his jaw tightened whenever Emily passed. Atlas noticed it too. The dog's ears lifted whenever Todd moved behind the counter, nose angling toward the hallway, as if scent told a story eyes could not. Jack felt the old pull to act fast. He pushed it down. Acting fast was easy. Acting right took patience. Todd emerged from the hallway, holding a clipboard he did not look at. He stopped short when he saw Jack watching him. "You still here?" Todd asked, voice sharp. "You got your coffee?" Jack did not raise his voice. "You shouldn't be taking from them." Todd laughed. Too quick. "You got proof?" Jack held his gaze. "Not yet." That word landed heavier than a threat. Todd leaned closer. "Then mind your business." Jack felt the room tilt, the way it always did before a line was crossed. He thought of Emily counting money twice in a locker. He thought of the couple's empty menus. He thought of how many people had chosen silence because it was cheaper. He reached into his pocket and took out his phone. Emily noticed. Her eyes widened slightly. Fear first, then relief she tried to hide. Jack dialed without breaking eye contact with Todd. 911, the operator answered. Jack spoke clearly. "I'm at Pine Street Diner on Pine and 3rd. I'd like an officer sent. Possible theft of employee tips and harassment. Manager on site." Todd scoffed. "You're kidding." Jack ended the call. No. The diner shifted. Chairs scraped. A man at the counter pretended to study his phone. Someone else stood up slowly, then sat back down. No one left. Emily's hands shook as she poured coffee. She spilled a few drops and wiped them away too hard. Todd paced. "You think calling cops fixes things?" he said. "It makes them worse." Jack watched him carefully. Todd's confidence was cracking now, leaking into irritation. People like Todd were used to being unchecked. Pressure did not make them calm. It made them sloppy. 10 minutes later, the bell over the door rang again. This time, the cold came with authority. Officer Ryan Delgado stepped inside, snow dusting his shoulders. He was 33, Hispanic, medium build, posture easy but alert. His winter uniform was neat, jacket zipped, eyes steady. He took in the room in one glance and knew exactly where the tension lived. "Evening," Delgado said. Calm. Neutral. "Who called?" Jack raised a hand. Atlas stayed still. Delgado noticed the dog immediately, read the harness, nodded once. Respect recognized respect. Todd stepped forward too fast. "This guy's causing trouble," he said. "Scaring customers." Delgado held up a hand. "I'll hear everyone." He listened to Jack first. Jack spoke plainly. No embellishment, facts only. Delgado turned to Emily. "Miss?" Emily swallowed. She described missing tips, threats, being told to smile more, being told to pay when she didn't. Her voice wavered once, then steadied. Saying it out loud felt like crossing a bridge she had avoided for months. Delgado nodded, writing nothing yet. "Anyone else?" A dishwasher spoke up from the back. Young, skinny, eyes tired. He said his paycheck was short twice. Todd stared at him like betrayal had a face. Delgado turned to Todd. "Can I see your office and security system?" Todd hesitated. Just a beat too long. "They're down," Todd said. "Camera's been acting up." Atlas shifted. Barely. Delgado's eyes flicked to the hallway, then back to Todd. "We'll still take a look." Todd's jaw tightened. "I don't consent." Delgado's voice stayed even. "You don't have to, but refusal gets noted." Jack felt something settle, the kind of calm that came when truth found traction. Delgado walked toward the hallway. Todd followed, protesting. Emily leaned against the counter, breathing shallow. Jack stayed where he was, flannel dark against the diner lights, Atlas at his side, watching the door. Snow pressed against the glass again, patient as ever. Inside, the cost of looking away was finally being counted. When the floor gives way. Snow packed itself into the cracks along the curb, the wind dropping just enough to make the quiet feel deliberate, like the city was holding its breath. Officer Ryan Delgado stood near the back hallway, posture relaxed but eyes sharp. He had that look of someone who had learned patience the hard way. Todd Pritchard hovered beside him, hands too busy, smile gone entirely now. Jack Mercer stayed near his booth, red and black flannel dark against the diner lights. Atlas seated at his left leg, harness visible and still. "Let's start here," Delgado said, nodding toward the office door. Todd moved to block him. "I told you, cameras are down." Delgado did not raise his voice. "I heard you." He stepped past anyway. The office was small, a desk, a chair, a metal filing cabinet that had seen better years. Delgado scanned the room like he was reading a map. He opened the cabinet first. Inside were folders that did not match their labels, receipts where schedules should be. Delgado's expression did not change, but Jack saw the shift. The moment when suspicion becomes pattern. Delgado crouched and opened a drawer at the bottom of the desk. Inside were envelopes. Emily gasped softly from the counter. The envelopes were thin, worn at the edges, names written in different handwriting. Delgado lifted one. He did not open it yet. He looked at Todd. "What's this?" he asked. Todd's mouth opened, closed, opened again. "Tips," he said. "We hold them." Delgado nodded. "Why are they in your desk?" Todd's eyes darted toward Emily. "For damage, breakage, uniform costs?" Delgado opened one envelope and counted quickly. He opened another. His jaw tightened just enough. Jack felt Atlas shift. Not excited. Focused. Delgado stepped back into the dining area and held the envelopes where everyone could see them. "If you believe money was taken legally," he said, "you won't mind if we confirm." A dishwasher stepped forward, hands shaking. "That's mine," he said, pointing. "I never got that." Emily's breath caught. She recognized her own handwriting on one envelope, the one she had filled with hope and folded too many times. Todd took a step toward Delgado. "You can't." Delgado raised a hand. "Stop." Todd did not. He reached for Delgado's arm. Atlas stood. Not fast, not loud, just present, between Todd and the officer. Body steady, eyes locked. Service dog, do not pet, read clear across his chest. Todd froze. Delgado took a step back, then another. Hands where I can see them. Todd's face drained of color. This is ridiculous, he said, voice cracking. You're ruining my business. Delgado exhaled slowly. You did that yourself. He guided Todd away from the desk. Todd resisted once, weakly, then sagged. The room was silent except for the hum of the fridge and the faint rattle of snow against glass. Delgado cuffed him. The sound was final. Metal on metal. No drama, no speech. Todd looked around like he expected someone to stop it. No one did. Emily pressed a hand to her mouth. Relief and fear tangled in her chest. She had dreamed of this moment and dreaded it all at once. Seeing it real felt unreal. Delgado spoke to the room. This is an ongoing investigation. Anyone who's been affected will have a chance to give statements. A few customers nodded. One clapped, then stopped when no one joined in. Todd was led toward the door. He twisted once, anger flashing. You think this makes you better? He spat, eyes landing on Jack. Jack met his gaze, calm, unmoved. It makes it over, Jack said. The bell rang as the door opened. Cold rushed in. Snowflakes clung to Todd's sweater like accusations. Then he was gone. The diner breathed again. Delgado uncuffed the tension from his shoulders. Sir, he said to Jack, nodding toward Atlas. Thank you for calling. Jack nodded back. No pride, no satisfaction, just closure. Delgado turned to Emily. We'll need your statement. Emily nodded. Her hands were still shaking, but she stood straighter now. Saying the truth out loud had cost her something. Keeping it had cost more. Minutes passed. Details were taken, names written down. The night moved forward. Then the bell rang again. Harold and Evelyn Whitaker stepped inside. This time, they were different. Not flashy, not loud, just unmistakable. Their coats fit properly. Their posture was calm, grounded, as if they expected to be heard. Delgado glanced at them, then back at Emily. Are these the couple from earlier? Emily nodded. Harold approached slowly. His voice was steady. We wanted to make sure she was all right. Delgado watched them carefully, then stepped aside. Evelyn took Emily's hands without asking. You were very brave, she said. Not comfort, recognition. Jack watched from his booth. He felt something loosen in his chest. Not relief, alignment. The Whitakers did not explain yet. They did not need to. Not tonight. Outside, snow fell softer now. Inside, something broken had been named and removed. Jack rose, careful of his leg. Atlas followed. He did not stay for thanks. He never did. What remains after the snow? Snow fell lighter now, flakes drifting instead of striking. The storm easing as if the city had decided to let the night finish what it started. Jack Mercer stood near the door, red and black flannel pulled tight against the cold that still clung to the diner. Atlas waited at his left side, black and tan coat dusted with melting snow, harness clear. Service dog, do not pet. Jack's left leg ached in the familiar way. He welcomed it. Pain meant the moment was real. The diner felt smaller after Todd was taken away. Chairs were out of place. Coffee steamed and went untouched. Emily Carter stood near the counter with Officer Delgado, answering questions in a voice that no longer shook. When she finished, Delgado nodded and stepped aside, giving the room back to itself. Harold and Evelyn Whitaker waited near the window, hands folded, posture calm. They looked different than before. Not richer in any loud way, just settled. Their coats fit. Their shoes were clean leather, worn with intention, not neglect. Their eyes moved with quiet certainty. Emily approached them slowly, unsure where to place herself now that the ground had shifted. Evelyn smiled and reached for her hands, warm, steady. "You did exactly what you thought was right," Evelyn said. Her voice carried no pity, only respect. Harold inclined his head toward Jack. "You too." Jack nodded once. He did not move closer. He never needed to. They sat. Emily remained standing until Evelyn gestured for her to join them. She sat at the edge of the booth, back straight, hands clasped in her lap like she was waiting for a verdict. "We owe you clarity," Harold said. His voice was even, practiced, without sounding rehearsed. "We did not come here by accident." Emily frowned. Confusion flickered, then caution. "I don't understand." Evelyn spoke gently. "For years, we have supported clinics, shelters, and training programs in Spokane. We go where kindness is inconvenient. Not to test people, to see what survives pressure." Emily shook her head. "I didn't know any of that." "That is why it mattered," Harold said. He slid a thin folder across the table. Emily did not open it at first. Her fingers hovered above the cover, afraid of what hope might cost. Jack watched her breathe. He recognized the moment. The one where accepting help felt heavier than refusing it. Emily opened the folder. Inside were invoices already stamped, paid. Hospital charges, medication, follow-up care. Her mother's name printed cleanly at the top. Emily's breath left her in a sound she could not control. She pressed her palm flat against the page as if to keep it from vanishing. "I can't," she started. "You already did," Evelyn said. "You paid first." Emily looked up, eyes wet, trying to speak through disbelief. "Why me?" Harold answered without hesitation. "Because when it cost you something, you still chose people." Jack felt something ease in his chest. Not pride, recognition. The kind that came from seeing a line held. "There's more," Harold said. "If you choose it. Education. Nursing school, if that still matters to you. No obligations, no speeches." Emily laughed once, sharp and broken. She covered her mouth. Tears followed. Relief came after. Officer Delgado approached, respectful, curious. Harold nodded to him. "Thank you for doing your job tonight." Delgado nodded back. "Thank you for being patient." The Whitakers stood to leave. Evelyn squeezed Emily's hands once more. "We did not save you," she said. "We saw you." They turned toward Jack. Harold extended a hand. Jack shook it briefly. Firm. Quiet. Outside, the bell rang softly as they left. Snow brushed their shoulders and did not linger. Emily sat alone in the booth for a moment, folder pressed to her chest. The Dinah noise returned in small pieces. Someone asked for a refill. Someone else laughed, tentative. Jack rose, careful with his leg. Atlas stood with him. Emily looked up. "Thank you," she said. Not for the folder, for the moment before it. Jack nodded. "Keep choosing," he said. He did not wait for an answer. Outside, the night was cleaner. Snow softened sound. Jack and Atlas walked down Pine Street, footprints filling behind them as quickly as they were made. The flannel caught the streetlight once, then faded into shadow. Jack did not think about justice or reward. He thought about alignment, about how some nights did not change the world. They simply returned it to itself. And that was enough. Sometimes the miracle is not thunder or light from the sky. Sometimes it is a quiet choice made when no one is watching. Faith shows up that way, in small rooms, on hard nights, in moments when doing the right thing costs something real. Many people pray for change, yet God often works through ordinary hands. A steady voice, a step forward, a refusal to look away. These are the tools He uses most. What looks small to the world can be everything to someone standing in need. In daily life, we face these moments more often than we notice. At work, on the street, in how we treat people who can give us nothing back. Each choice becomes a seed. Some grow into regret. Others grow into grace. If this story reminded you that faith is lived, not spoken, carry that with you today. Choose kindness when it is inconvenient. Trust that God sees what others do not. Please share this story with someone who needs hope. Leave a comment with your thoughts or your own experience. Subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. And may God bless you and your family.